Colonial Pipeline has fully restored service following a cyber attack. And we've learned the company paid a ransom in order to get operations up and running again. But as Manuel Bojorquez reports, gas in parts of the southeast still hard to find.
Don't panic, number one. I know seeing lines at the pumps or gas stations with no gas can be extremely stressful. But this is a temporary situation.
The president tried to assure the southeast and mid-Atlantic states that the gas crunch could be over in a few days. CBS News has learned that Colonial Pipeline did pay a multi-million-dollar ransom to the hackers to unlock some of its data. Biden was asked if he was briefed on the matter.
I have no comment on that.
Out here, the panic continues.
51 inches.
Just ask tanker truck driver Ray Humphrey, a rare sight these days, replenishing the supply at this Raleigh gas station. When he shows up, he draws a crowd.
I went in and got a drink, come back out. They were here.
Just like that.
Magic.
Yay! We found people who actually followed him here. Did you see him coming?
I saw him coming.
And you lined up?
And I came and lined up.
The shortages may now be peaking as the Colonial Pipeline resumed operations after last week's ransomware attack. But Washington, D.C. remains hard hit with nearly 3/4 of gas stations dry. In North Carolina, it's 68%, and about half of stations are out in Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia. Some gas stations in Georgia are limiting customers to $20 purchases amid reports people keep hoarding gas. In Florida, firefighters said this Hummer with 4 containers of gasoline inside burst into flames. Back in North Carolina, Mike Whalen just reopened his 3 gas stations that were out of gas. He says his fuel delivery was only a fraction of what he normally receives.
If I get 4,000 gallons, which is what we're hoping for, we'll pump it out within a couple of hours.
The price for a gallon of unleaded at his location is just under $3, but the North Carolina Attorney General's office says it has received nearly 400 complaints about possible price gouging across the state since Monday. Lana?
Price gouging and hoarding. Manny, thank you. For more on this, let's bring in CBSN technology reporter Dan Patterson. Dan, a source familiar with this investigation told CBS News that Colonial Pipeline paid a multi-million-dollar ransom to hackers. What does this say about the level of pressure that the company was actually under to get their systems back up and operational?
Hi, Lana. A lot of pressure. Look, this was one of the largest ransomware attacks targeting a critical infrastructure maintained by a private company in the U.S. And they, like a lot of other companies targeted by ransomware or governments, they had to face either pay the ransom or suffer extreme consequences. The stakes are pretty high here. On the flip side, the ransom that was being asked appears to have been fairly low. So organized ransomware gangs like DarkSide, Maze, and others, they will lock your data up. They will threaten to release or destroy that data. They'll DDoS you and use all sorts of other strong-arm tactics in order to get you to pay. And because they do set that ransom at a fairly low price, it's a fairly easy decision for a lot of companies to make to say, look, we have to be operational. Let's pay the ransom. It's maybe not the decision that a lot of governments and other companies would like to make, but it's often the decision they do have to make.
Yeah, the FBI actually discourages companies and organizations from making ransom payments. Tell us about the rationale behind why they don't want this to happen and what message they worry it sends by giving in to hackers' demands.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Look, the FBI and other organizations, look, the traditional rhetoric is to not pay the ransom, but we have been hearing some of that rhetoric, at least from the federal government, bend and change a little bit. And they are deferring to these companies to kind of do what they need to do in order to become operational. There is maybe 3 reasons behind the rationale of not paying the ransom, however, and that's typically what most cyber experts recommend. These are practical, technological, and ethical reasons. You're dealing with criminals. So practically, it's just challenging to work with these with these organizations. Technologically, although they promise to give you a decryption key, that might not always work for your organization. And ethically, anytime you fund a ransomware attack, even by paying it, you're kind of perpetuating the problem.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Dan, the hackers group site on the dark web has gone down. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, it looks as though this site, which was hosted on a .onion domain, this is a part of the dark web, which requires fairly unsophisticated but specialized software to access. And this site served kind of like an IT and customer support forum. They also put up press releases. So it functioned a lot like similar sites on the ClearNet. The site going down is pretty interesting. We can only speculate why. This group had made statements as though maybe this attack had gone beyond the scope of the initial premise. They could be under attack from any number of law enforcement agencies. So right now there's not a lot of information, but we are watching that .onion URL to see if it returns.
And President Biden on Wednesday signed an executive order aimed at strengthening cybersecurity defenses. Dan, tell us more about this. And obviously coming on the heels of the SolarWinds hack, which involves several federal agencies, and the Microsoft Exchange hack, I'm wondering, is it your assessment that we should be expecting more of these types of cyber attacks in the future?
Yeah, there are a few reasons that we could expect more and larger cyber attacks going forward. So a lot like kinetic warfare, cyber war is locked into this kind of technological arms race. The tools, the talent, and the tactics continue to evolve. Because the stakes are pretty high, like we see with the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack. Critical infrastructure is really vulnerable, which means there is plenty of incentive for criminals, state actors, and even smaller organized hacking organizations to engage in pretty destructive behavior.
Yeah, Dan Patterson, thank you for keeping an eye on all this for us.
Good to see you.